Hey friends, who's in your posse? Friends, it's Pastor Mike from Fellowship Church. Always enjoy connecting with you midweek. Hope you're enjoying this beautiful fall weather. I sure love it when the leaves are all changing and the colors are there. I just don't like raking them. Here's that thought for you again. Who's in your posse these days? Now, I use the word posse like it's an old Western movie kind of thing. What I mean by that is, who are you grouping yourself with these days? And who do you find yourself most aligned with? It might be interesting to you to know that in Jesus' day, in the New Testament biblical days, there were a lot of different groupings of people, and they all had their ideas about faith and life and government and politics and all kinds of other things. And of course, they grouped themselves together, and they all had kind of a different relationship with Jesus. Let me give you a couple of examples. You've heard of a group before called the Pharisees. Did you know that they actually began as a holiness movement? The Pharisees were those who looked at the world around them and said, wow, in order for us to practice our faith, we need to separate ourselves from some things of this world. That's all the word holiness means. It means to separate. So the Pharisees came up with long lists of things that they would do not do, and the things that they require themselves to do. And then they thought everybody else should do it as well, and they judged people who didn't. So the Pharisees had their idea about the world, and their idea was based on holiness and being exclusive. There was another group of people called the Sadducees. They're in the Bible a couple of times, nowhere near as common as the Pharisees. The Sadducees were all priests, or people who were descended from priests, or kind of the priest movement. They were the church folks. They were descended from a priest named Zadok. You can see Zadok, Sadducees, and boy, for them, everything focused on the church and the practices of the church. They were big into the temple and all of that. So everything for them focused on that kind of a faith life. There were other people called Herodians. They were named the Herodians because they aligned themselves with Herod. So they were doing faith at the same time that they were aligning themselves with government. And of course, they saw certain benefits from that. And yeah, that got a little messy sometimes too. There were other people called Zealots, and even some others called Essenes. They all had their ideas about how to live life, what to incorporate, what to push back on, what they associated themselves with. Boy, they all had their ideas. So friends, it really wasn't that much different than life that we have today, where it seems that people group themselves together with others who have the same idea about faith and life and politics and everything else. Here's the point I want to make today. By the end of the first century, by say the year AD 100, maybe 70 years after Jesus died and was raised again, all those groups were gone. They were gone because the world around them changed. So the groupings no longer mattered the same way that they once did, and all of them compromised their life with Jesus because of the ways in which they were grouping themselves. All of them missed something of Jesus. The Sadducees, they missed Jesus entirely. The Pharisees, they debated Jesus a lot, but they certainly had their differences with him because he didn't go along with their stuff. Every one of those groups had their differences with Jesus. They missed something of Jesus because their posse mattered so much to them. That leads me to a question. Who's in your posse these days? Who do you group yourself with? Which causes mean the most to you? And we all have our causes, but which causes mean so much to you that you might miss something of Jesus in the working out of that cause? Friends, we don't want to miss anything of Jesus. We want to follow Jesus with our heart, soul, mind, and strength. We don't want to miss anything that Jesus said, anything that Jesus did, or anything that Jesus calls us to do. We just want to be the Jesus people. Make sure that your posse doesn't miss out on something of Jesus. Friends, I hope that makes sense to you. It's been bumping around in my head for a while here. Just want to follow Jesus, heart, soul, mind, and strength. Hope the same is true for you. Hope you're having a wonderful week. Know that we love you and we pray for you. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.